Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a great day and that you're all doing well. The discussion today will be a very popular one, how to invest $100. I got a little annoyed, or I get a little annoyed normally when this question comes up and you kind of look around for a response because other people that I know have asked me this question many times, and the answer that they usually come up with is, I read on a website that it said to only invest in stocks. I saw that it said to do so and so. I was looking around and you have to only do this. This is the only way to invest that money. There are many different ways to invest $100. If you're even here, it's nice that you have $100 to be able to invest. Consider yourself lucky. A lot of people have zero to invest. So without further ado, I'll go from risky to not so risky to kind of like, okay, that one's kind of risky, but I'll explain why. The first thing, and probably the worst thing, I'm pretty sure you've maybe seen it, looking around, had someone tell you should also do this as well. It is putting your money into a CD. That is a certificate of deposit, and you see them a lot in every single bank. It pretty much is a way for you to lock up your money for a specific amount of time, anywhere from, I think, 6 months to a year, 5 years, or 10 years. And you'll receive a certain amount of interest back on your money. The issue being is that a lot of times if you look at the actual interest rate, and a lot of people don't know what inflation is, not joking, you will make, after about 10 years of locking your money up and not being able to touch it, and if you do touch it, you get penalized and a huge portion of your money also gets taken away. You'll get a return of around 0.15%. That's it. The current levels of inflation that governments try to hit yearly are around 1 to 3%. It is believed that they are anywhere between 2, 3.5%, depending on how you want to look at the actual metrics. So every single year, you are losing around 3% of your money by just having it sit there. Told this story before, not going to tell it again for that long, what have you. Had a friend, he put his money into CDs, I think for about 5 years, and over the course of 5 years, he was losing around 2.5% of his money in there every single year because inflation caused everything to become more expensive and he didn't invest that money the correct way. So CDs, and I've also seen other people talking about this as well on their channel, telling people to put their money into CDs is the worst possible way. You might as well take your money and burn it. If you have a match somewhere around, just take it and burn it. It's kind of almost the exact same thing. I wish I was even slightly joking. Do not put your money into a CD. Don't think about putting your money into it. Unless you find a bank that is offering you around a good 7 to 10% per year. I mean, well, please, by all means, that is the least risky investment you'll be able to do. But the point is, don't put your money into a CD. However, this is officially, essentially a way to invest the $100, if you were wondering. The second way would be through stocks or dividend stocks. This is also not as risky. However, it's also not the most exciting thing, but over the long run, you will be able to build a very large stock portfolio, which is something that a lot of people want. I think we have a huge tug of war often between people who either want to have a stock portfolio or a real estate portfolio. Stocks are a lot more passive and therefore they usually get not the attention, but you understand what I'm saying. They get a lot of the point being, if you put that $100 into the stock market, I would recommend, once again, as I've done before, putting it into what they call blue chip stocks. So the Apples, the Amazons, you kind of get the hint of where I'm going. You want to make sure that you put your money into very large stocks unless you plan on day trading. Penny stocks, which I would also advise against because you have to really know the market. You have to also make sure that you are not in a market downtrend or you will lose a lot of money. Every single month, if you happen to have $100, you can start putting that into the stock market. You can put it into dividend stocks. For those of you who don't know what dividend stocks are, every 3 to 4 months, depending on the company, you will get a little chunk of change for holding said stock. If you buy a stock that is $100 at the end of the 3-month period, the company will give you anywhere from $3, $4, $5 to $6 as a thank you for holding the stock. That's incredible. Because what happens is if you end up buying a new stock every single month or 2 stocks every single month or multiple stocks every single month, especially if that company ends up growing over the years like the McDonald's and the Johnsons & Johnsons, your portfolio will continue to rise and the amount of money that you get from the dividends will also continue to rise. I would assume this is actually not a bad way to invest that $100, but it also comes down to like Not many people just kind of want to put it into one thing. Many people kind of want to spread their money out all over the place, but it's less risky, and it's not something I would say no to, especially if you are not a risky kind of investor. So yeah, I would definitely say stocks. This is usually like the number one thing that you kind of see around, but they make it seem as if like this is the only kind of investment that you can do with the $100, which is a bit annoying. The third part is, and I think this is going to take a lot of people by surprise simply because I know a lot of people won't do it because it takes too much effort, just being honest. I would recommend using that money to learn a language. I know about half the people left. Thank you for the rest of you who did not leave. Learning a language is very beneficial for a lot of ways. It also helps your mind. I don't mean to do the whole like invest in yourself kind of thing, but it's more like I speak multiple languages. I've been able to do business in multiple countries because I speak the multiple languages. If I did not speak the multiple languages, I would not have been able to do business in those other countries. And I wouldn't have been able to make the money that I made from those investments. So it kind of completely tumbles out of control if you kind of want to say it that way. You could do something as simple as not advertising, but Duolingo, something that's completely for free. You can find it, and this is also free. This is also even like an extra way for you to be able to like invest as well. Learn another language. Learn how to do some other skill. There's also a whole bunch of other like free university courses. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those. It's called, don't remember it. Type in free university courses. You can get like certificates and stuff after that. Like if you're trying to get a job at some point or some other place, you have usually a better job if you show them that you have a certificate from Brown or Yale or something like that because you studied with them online as opposed to someone else who did not study at all, which is also free. That's also another way to even just save $100. I should just make a video about how to save tons of money with all the free stuff that's online. I feel like that's also a video idea. Anyway, yeah, take free courses online. Learn a new language. Learn something new to help you out further into the future. Like I assure you, learning another language or even learning half of another language, learning how to say, I wouldn't recommend just like 3 phrases. Like you're like, hello, and that's about it. Like learn a bit more. Why not? Why not learn another language? You can talk to other people around the world and do business in other countries. Like where have you always wanted to visit? Where have you always wanted to do business? Why not learn that language? You can do business in that country. Nothing's stopping you. I'm not stopping you. Are you stopping you? It was very cheesy and I apologize. The next stuff. I would recommend, and I think this is especially with $100, while not a lot, is an okay amount of money to even start a business with. I would highly recommend start an online business. Do not start a physical location. Do not open up a physical place. Don't start a whatever somewhere else. I would highly recommend, if you are able to do so with that $100 and you have a nice enough camera already, like from your mobile phone. I'm not talking about buying like a DSLR, SLR, to be able to take the photos or something already pretty nice. Use that $100. Find, first of all, like I said in the other video, find some stuff around your house to start selling, get used to selling on eBay, and find stuff that you can buy either in bulk or stuff that's really popular with about 50 of that dollars, multiple of them, so that you can start selling on eBay and grow your eBay business. And the more money that you get from selling these things, of course, for a profit. If you buy something for $1, you should be trying to sell it for about $5, $6, $7, $8. That profits will eventually keep tumbling. You have grown your business from that $100 or even just $50. It's free to also make an eBay account as well. I would definitely recommend this. This is probably one of the biggest ways. Whenever you look online for ways to invest $100 or whatever the number might be, it's always just stocks. They never tell people to actually start a business, and I think it's a really big shame because it's so easy to start a business now, especially if you think about where our parents are and grandparents, it was difficult to start a business. They had to be completely physical. But the fact that we can start online businesses for $100, if not less, and have them fail, like if anything, look at it this way. If you start a business with $100 and it fails, all you did was lose $100. And I mean that in the most honest way. Like it's better than you losing $10,000, $15,000, $125,000 to buy a place, have a lease on it, to have debt and beat someone else. It's a lot easier for you to put that 100 into it, lose it, and then next month you make another 100 to try another venture. Or on the flip side, just start an eBay business or an Amazon business, and you have a very good chance of it doing pretty well. And then a year from now, you're a big eBay seller. You're making good $1,500 to $3,000 extra per month from that $100 that you used. It's totally possible. Like I used to do it as well. Like it's not difficult at all. It's just about figuring out what to buy and what to sell. Definitely recommend it. It'll be the best 100 you ever invested in your entire life. I wholeheartedly not only recommend to start a digital business, especially if you're trying to start a business. It can be on Etsy. It can be even on Instagram. It can be anywhere. Just to start doing things online that are digital in general. We're moving to a very digital economy. While physical locations will still exist, especially after everything that's been going on this year, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Digital stores, digital places, digital content creators have fared relatively well because they are in a digital space and it can be accessed from people's phones, from people's tablets, from people's computers while they are home. You can order stuff from Amazon or from eBay from your computer while you're home because you're not going out to a physical store. Kind of get what I'm saying. The fifth way, five, is if you are talented or have a particular skill or are funny or are knowledgeable or can help humanity in some sort of way, I would take that $100. I'd pay about a good $15, $20 into it and buy a tripod and one of those beautiful circle lights that you see in every single YouTube video. And I would start a YouTube channel. Simple as that. I will warn you, it does take, and I will be honest with you, it does take anywhere from 6 to 8 months to really begin to see some traction. But if you keep up with it, you will do fine. That much I promise you. A lot of this ties back exactly into what I was saying before as far as starting something digital. A lot of people forget that digital kind of runs the world. Everything that's digital is doing very well. I also mentioned this before in another video a while ago. It is expected that over the course of the next 10 to 15 years, I think an additional 1 to 1.5 billion people on the planet will gain access to the internet. That is an extra 1.5 billion people who will have access to what you're selling on eBay, to what you're selling on Amazon, to the content you are creating on any other platform and or YouTube. Like I said, it's not difficult, but it does take a while. And I think that kind of deters a lot of people. But once again, that even doesn't even cover the entirety of the $100 that you also had. You can do multiple things. With that $100, you can start a YouTube channel, you can start an eBay business, and you can learn a new language. And also you can even put the last $20 into stocks. And then keep tumbling that every single month. Every $100 you get, keep divvying it up in that way, and you'll be fine. I promise you. I can't say promise, but you get what I'm saying. You'll be fine. 6, also not a popular one because I talk about this a lot on the channel. A lot of people don't like investments that aren't flashy. When an investment isn't amazing enough, people don't care for it. Another really big investment, and this is a very big thing on the channel, is to not be in debt, never take out debt, and if you are in debt, to pay off that debt. $100 goes a very long way. I know a lot of people who are multiple credit cards in debt. They owe about $4,000 to this company, $15,000 to that. Your debt may only be $700, $800. The best thing for you, if you are in debt, before even starting a business or learning a language, you can do it on the side. I would pay off that debt as quick as possible. There's no if, ands, or but about that. You should make sure that your number one goal before even thinking about putting money into any other investment is to pay off the debt, because the interest rate on a lot of the debt is completely insane. And the last thing you want is in the next 15 years to see that your debt has ballooned out of control, especially if you end up having a good, popular YouTube channel or a popular, eBay company that you end up still owing tons of money. It's just don't do it. I promise you. I know a lot of people, I've seen family members and other friends cut up their credit cards once they've been paid off and almost in tears. You don't want to be that way. Just make sure you pay off your debt. That is definitely a way to invest $100 that a lot of people don't think about. It is a very big investment towards your future, and it's an investment towards the lessening of headaches because of debt. Yeah. Getting to the more risky side, you can use that $100 to invest in cryptocurrencies. If you find yourself with only $100 to invest, I would advise against this, as the cryptocurrency market is incredibly volatile and risky. No one knows where it's going to be tomorrow. However, if you find yourself with an extra $100 that you just simply found on the street, found somewhere else, I would say a very cautious, why not? There's a really big difference between having tons of money and you take about a portion of it to be able to invest in Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency. Why not? Who knows what will happen in the next 10 years? There's also another difference between you being in debt, not having a lot of money, and only having $100 and trying to put that into Bitcoin. I would definitely advise against it. However, for those of you who are lucky enough to invest in cryptocurrencies, the returns can be staggering. And this is a very big selling point for a lot of people because people want to make money fast. But on the risky side, Bitcoin has not been around for a very long time. You are at risk of losing all of your money. Please understand that just because you put your money into the Bitcoin or cryptocurrency space, that does not mean that tomorrow the price will not be zero. This is very important to understand. A lot of people get upset when they lose money in general on investments, and this is why it is always very important to do your own research. I can only help you so much. I'm only here trying to help you. It is important to note that this is incredibly risky. However, the potential upside returns are massive. So if you are a risky investor and you kind of just want to, what's the term? Set it and forget it. Put it into crypto, put it into Bitcoin, and kind of just leave it. It's another option for you to be able to do so. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. On the risky side, once again, you can use lending platforms. This also is something that I don't see a lot of, but I think is also very interesting. And I'll tell you in the most honest way, while I advise that you don't get into debt or ever get into debt, don't ever take out debt, that does not stop millions of other people, if not billions of other people around the world from doing it because they're going to do it. So what ends up happening is on lending platforms, I can't give you a specific one. There are tons of ones. Do your own research. Make sure that these are legitimate, that these are real, the ones that you're going to be using. There are tons of legitimate ones. Make sure they're using a very popular one. What happens is you pretty much put your money into the platform. And you lend people your money through the actual platform. It's kind of like a normal lender. And then at the end of the lending period, you get your money back plus a commission, like plus the interest rate. And the interest rates on these platforms can range anywhere from 4 to 7%. So your $100, you'll get 7% on that. And this continues to tumble further the more money that you end up putting into these platforms. Understand that there is a risk to this as well, because you can have a risk that the person may simply not pay the money back. However, on many of these platforms, they'll have it set up so that the other person has to have some type of collateral should they not pay the actual debt back. So you'll still get your money, but still there's always a chance. And anyway, if you lend your friend $100, I get it back to you next week, and then 3 weeks go by and you still don't have your money back, that's the risk. So while it is very risky, the potential upside for this is very great, especially if you end up using the compounding interest. If you kind of want to say that on the 7% that you're making, you keep rolling it over and over and over. Every single month you put money into the project or into the lending thing. It's a very good way of making money. Very risky. Look it up. Go to the actual websites. Don't ever be afraid to actually contact the people on the websites as well. I've noticed a lot of people do that sometimes. I think people, when they try to get into something, I think they're afraid of messaging the company, messaging the something, and trying to ask them, hey, how does this work? How much money should I put in? Am I covered? Is this FDIC insured, or whatever the FDIC is in your country? If I lose my money, am I going to be insured in some sort of way? Am I going to get my money back? Don't be afraid to ask them. They're also a business. They want to hear these questions from you so that you can get the answer and then start using said investment vehicle. Definitely something to look into. There are also cryptocurrency lending platforms. I'd wait a couple of years to see those kind of stabilize, but I would definitely look for more traditional lending platforms. While this one is not risky, this one goes in the column of no. For me personally, because of how I invest, and also I want to make money, you could use that $100 to buy silver. I see a couple of places, and I've seen this mentioned before, that a lot of people think if you have the money, you should put it directly into precious metals. I will disagree with this for a couple of reasons, especially when it comes to buying silver. Don't hate me. Silver has not performed the best over the last 10 or so years. Not as good as Bitcoin, not as good as real estate. I think not even as well as gold, but even then gold is also like a kind of other thing. When it comes to investments, me personally, I like to put my money into active investments. I like the idea of having it into the stock market, where there's a huge potential for the companies to do well and the price to go up, and also to receive that dividend every couple of months, so that I'm still receiving money, extra money on top of the money that I already put into the market. While not terrible, I think the idea of just buying coins and putting them into a dresser or a drawer or under a pot, I don't know where people keep their silver, it's not active. You're not really making any money from it. You can't lend out your silver and hope to receive more silver back in tiny little fragments. So it's not terrible, but it's also not that great. I have seen it touted before as an investment vehicle. I think long-term, silver could potentially do good. But as far as like when it comes to investing right now, honestly, I would rather have an eBay business that I can grow over the course of a year, as opposed to buying 5 pieces of silver every month. At the end of the year, I have 60 pieces of silver. All this out of the end of the year, I have a full-fledged eBay business, and I'm making a couple thousand extra a month, which then you could also then push into silver if you wanted to do so. Yeah, not something I would highly recommend. It's an option, but it's not a good option. And the final thing on the list, number 10, is to use it to grow your savings. This isn't risky. This is like probably the least risky. Put your money away somewhere. Put it into a bank. You'll lose money due to inflation in your account. But if you want no risk at all, as banks do crumble, put it into a bank account. You can even take it in, I don't know, what do people use? Put it into a box, put it into a cup. Also wouldn't recommend that. You know what I'm saving? Just save up the money. If you have debt, pay off the debt. If you want to build up a savings account, if you want to build up an emergency savings fund, which is also something that you should probably be doing as well. A lot of people don't think about that. You should all have a savings fund. All of you, not some of you. I don't care who you are. You should have at least, I think the number is anywhere from 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses every single month. So if your expenses every month, that is to say your rent, light, gas, food, you should have 3 to 6 months of that in savings already. So if you don't have that, well, gosh darn it, now you know what to do with your $100, because you have to have savings. You never know what's going to happen. I'm sure you've heard the term, save it for a rainy day. This year has been a thunderstorm. It hasn't just been one rainy day. It's been a lot. I know a lot of friends who have lost their jobs, I'm sure you all do as well. In order to mitigate this risk, you need to start building up a savings fund, or continue building up more of your savings fund. If you are on the cusp of trying to figure out where to put that $100, take 50 of it and put it into a savings fund, and the other rest, go invest it somewhere. There are tons of ways to invest the money. It's just a matter of what fits your life at that moment. What annoys me the most is other cryptocurrency channels. What annoys me the most is other investment channels telling you how to invest your $100, but it never really takes into account what your current life situation is. That's why I gave you 10 different ways, and they weren't all just stocks, Roth IRAs, 401ks. It's nonsense. There are so many other ways to invest that can actively make you more money without having to make other companies more money. When you put your money into the stock market, you're only in essence enriching those companies. Like imagine you creating your own company with the money that you would have put into the stock market. You end up making your own company and see what I'm saying? Depends on how passive you are, how active you are, how risk tolerant you are. I'm also, this is why I make sure to mention it in the videos, risky investments. As far as like if you're going to get into them, understand that they have risks to them. I'm a very risky investor. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a good 9.5. I'm very reckless when it comes to investments because the idea is, for those of you who want to know, is that you can do this while you're still young. By the time you're in your 40s or in your 50s, you have to kind of pull it back a lot. So while you're young, this is why I mentioned Bitcoin as well, you can do riskier things because you can kind of play around with the money to see where it goes. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling on. I hope I helped. I do hope that you all enjoyed. If you have any questions, anything I missed, anything you would like to know more about, maybe you heard it from a friend, as to where to put your money, ask me in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to help. I like to help. Thank you all once again for watching. And yeah, I think that's it. See you all in the next one.